If you watch the news or read newspapers in England in the past couple of years, you are definitely, and particularly recently, you are definitely going to have seen stories about a certain spider, you know, this terrible, terrible, dangerous spider that's living in the UK. Invading is what they're saying. Invading, you know, so they're on the boats, they're hijacking planes, hanging to the underside of HGV vehicles. I mean, you would have heard about how it's the only poisonous spider in Britain and how being bitten by one is really bad and it can kill you and things like this. It's all a load of crap, okay? The spiders are there. They are called false black widows, and the problem is their name is what's caused most of this trouble, because they are related family-wise to a black widow, you know, the black and red one, which is quite dangerous. And having that in the name means that everyone just assumes, oh, you know, this is so dangerous to have around. Even though it's got false in the name as well, people don't listen to that bit. And the newspaper's grabbing onto very rare occasions that when someone gets bitten by one, they have an adverse reaction. Now, let me just explain. False widow spiders have been in the UK for over 100 years. Okay, so they have been here as long as all of you that are watching this have been born and longer. So they've always been here. If you were unlikely enough to get bitten by one, the effects are no worse than a bee sting or a wasp sting. You know, not a big deal. Like bee stings and wasp stings, some people can have very sensitive reactions, you know, anaphylactic shock type stuff. But in the same way that someone from a wasp or a bee or a dog or a cat, you know, because people got allergies, they can go into anaphylactic shock. So it is no more dangerous, really, than sniffing a cat. Now, depending on whose cat it is, I suppose, yeah, there could be more dangers involved with that. I've had a couple of my cats that are little twats and they'd probably just take your face off. But that's not the point. It would only be scars, not lasting death. But people get really seriously panicky about it. Like, oh my God, there's one in my house. How do I get rid of it? And they're like going to extraordinary lengths to make sure they don't get near this thing. My team leader at work, who I get on very well with, she's a lovely girl, but she's a bit of a scaredy cat of everything. She's scared of gas, because she thinks it'll explode. She's scared of compressed CO2 canisters, because she thinks they'll explode. She's scared of spiders in general, but when she found out about these false black widows, she was fucking petrified. I had a text from her the other night with a picture. I found this in my bath, and it actually was a false black widow. That's one of the other things. People very rarely identify them correctly. They're not difficult to identify. They're black with a white crescent, and they have very pointy legs. They don't quite look like anything else. But very often people are like, it's a false black widow to me, and I'm like, no, it's not. I should explain, I have been studying entomology and stuff for a long time, so I do know about these things. So people naturally come to me and ask me questions about them, and, you know, what's this, what's that, as they find stuff. It is, yeah, it's an identification challenge for me. Hello, piggies! She sent me a text the other night saying, I found this spider in my bathwater, should I go to the hospital? I'm like, why? Well, in case I've been bitten. No. Because this is the thing, people have got this opinion that if you ever get bitten by one, you should go straight to the hospital. No! You don't need to do that. It's like a bee sting. Yeah, okay, you get stung by a bee, you don't go to hospital. If you start getting like a swollen throat and face and, you know, having a severe reaction to it, then yeah, go straight to hospital. Call 999, fair enough. It's just scaremongering. There's seriously, the chances of having anaphylactic shock to one are very, very low. And most people that get bitten by them don't even know it's happened. That's the other thing to mention here. The only cases you will ever hear about are not man bitten by spider, felt a bit like a wasp sting, was fine 2 days later. No, what you hear is man bitten 20 times by spider because it went down his top and he nearly died from it. They neglect to ever mention the went into anaphylactic shock because he was allergic to them. I mean, I don't know what the figures are sort of percentage-wise as to how many people have a bad reaction compared to how many people, you know, don't have a bad reaction, because I don't think the data's there to know, because there isn't enough evidence that people have been bitten and nothing happening, because when that happens, no one says anything. You just like, what's this red mark? I don't know. Do you know, the other day I realised I haven't seen the geese in ages. Well, I think since before the winter, so I'm wondering if they went to Christmas dinner, and that would make me sad. Hello, cows! Got any cows behind us? No. How you doing? How you doing? You good? Do you know what happened to the geese? They got eaten. No, don't worry, it's not going to happen to you. You'll make milk. If ever I thought a cow wanted to make love to me, it's that one right there. Look, number 700962. You're a fine cow. Keep up the good work. Laters! Them sexy, sexy cows with that deep, beautiful brown eye. Okay, anyway, yes, you know how people react with wasps? A lot of people do. You'll see this. I'm sure there's many of you out there who won't necessarily admit to it, but you are like this. That you see a wasp and you start the flapping. Ah! 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 That sort of an arrangement, you know what I mean. I'm sure there's many of you like me who really just don't mind them, and you know that if you're just more careful and gentle with them, you're never going to get stung by one. And for anyone saying, oh no, I still don't like these spiders, no, I don't like them, they must die. Remember that they're the things that are getting rid of the flies and the wasps and all the other things you don't like. So if you have one or two in your room, keep them. I don't mind having them in my room. I actually had a couple that started off as little babies and I watched them grow to adulthood until one day I found them both on the same piece of web hanging from the ceiling and thought, if you're going to get skanky in my room, you can do it outside. And that's when they left. And just be glad that you don't live in a place like Australia or America. And there is a certain spider in Australia, the funnel web, which I don't like. Its personality, it is a proper little prick. They just look like the perfect little killing machine and you're just like, nah, I don't want to mess with that shit. Same as brown recluse in America. Because when they bite you, your hand rots off. And then years later, after it's healed, your hand rots off again. And then it heals again, and then your hand rots off again. So fear not, my friends. In England you are safe. No creature can really hurt you. Not a fox, not a badger. An otter might take your fucking fingers off, and ask Terry Nutkins. But other than that, you're probably gonna be okay. Well, unless it's an imported animal and it's not actually from this country. That happens a lot. So, you know, maybe you do need to be scared about spiders. It's a squeak, that's brilliant! Shoe squeal! Oh, well, I can smell it as well.